Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, Become the Disruptor. My name is Magda. I'm a trauma-informed therapist. And here we are bringing mental health into 21st century with neuroscience, with proper action, with proper knowledge that is based on facts, not on someone else's mythology or creativity or imagination. That can be nice for them. But those who are interested in healing through neurobiology and neuroscience and facts, that is your place. So today we're going to be talking about anger and actually the whole myths that had been created by therapists around anger. And we're just gonna dismantle this funny house of cards that had been built, and we're just gonna bring in some facts instead of the cards. So it's gonna be like you're gonna have a solid foundation and a solid knowledge. Now, anger, first of all, is not a flaw. It is basically a message or even information, if we want to maybe even make it even more neutral. It's an information coming from your emotional infrastructure. Now, when I say emotional infrastructure, this is not a metaphor. So again, guys, here when I'm talking about therapy and psychology, those models, they are heavily relying on metaphor and on your imagination and fantasy. Here, I'm only talking about science. So when I say emotional architecture that lives in your brain, I mean it. Google it if you have any doubts or if you want to deepen this knowledge, because what I'm talking about is, of course, only a part of it, but I am giving you the gist so you can already change the way you're thinking about your emotions, because this is hugely important for a mature, functioning adult in this world. So anger is one of the primal emotional circuits that had been wired millions of years ago. So imagine that. And they live in your brain, deep inside your brain. They are subcortical. So they are in the unconscious part of your brain. Think about it. So you have anger, you have fear, you have lust, you have seeking, you have play, you have care, and you have panic and grief. These are the 7 primary emotional circuits. But today I'm focusing only on anger because anger is so badly misinterpreted by the psychological and therapeutic movement that it's just to the point of that being just ridiculous. So a lot of the times the anger is either being framed as a problem to manage, so we have the anger management, for example, party, or we have anger being framed as a wound, as an inner child, or as a shadow, something to heal. No. That's me being angry, yeah? Or not even angry, just frustrated, I guess, with the therapeutic industry. Just my honesty. So anger is an information. So when you feel, because this is another thing, those emotional circuits, those 7 primary that I mentioned, you interpret them. Whether that interpretation is correct, that depends on the health of your brain. So those unconscious parts that have unconscious parts of your brain in which those circuits live, because Mother Nature intended for us to have them, they don't speak the language of your conscious brain. No, they like action. Action, because those were created pre-verbal. So the humans then didn't have the language. So there was no way to communicate and, to ponder about these emotions. You would act. So it was like a reactionary, yeah? But now that we have the conscious parts of our brain developed, so the prefrontal cortex, anterior cingulate, insula, then you interpret these cues. Now, how these cues, so how do you know that you feel an emotion? When you feel something in your body. It's a cue, a sensation coming from the body. That's how you know that you feel something. And then your conscious brain is interpreting, and depending on how healthy your conscious brain is, whether it looks at the world through the lens of trauma or whether it looks at the world from a more neutral lens, that's how you're going to be interpreting those cues. So let's say your conscious brain is interpreting that you have a lot of anger, and then let's say it sees this video that anger is a wound and you have to heal it, and you start healing it. Boo. Wrong. Not wrong you, wrong the industry. There's nothing to heal there. Do you know what your anger does want from you? Protection. A proper boundary setting. Sometimes maybe confrontation. That doesn't mean this. No, confrontation as in mature dialogue with another person. As in protecting your time, protecting your energy, protecting your safety. So let's say if you feel angry a lot, or let's say you feel a surge of energy in your body, and then your prefrontal cortex, your anterior cingulate and your insula are interpreting that as anger, you don't have to heal anything. You got to act. And notice one thing, because that's what I noticed, and that's what the clients who I had been working with and who had been successful in their healing experience. When you start placing the boundaries, do you know what happens? Magically, not through manifestation or anything, but just through pure biology, you don't feel angry that much. You don't feel that much anger anymore. Suddenly that anger just kind of dissipates. Why? Because you acted. Because you protected yourself. That's the only thing that your anger wants from you. Doesn't want you to do this, although sometimes maybe that is necessary. I don't know, it depends on the context. Of course, you know what I'm saying is very context heavy, yeah, so you have to apply it to your own particular situation. And again, how you apply it, this is the health of your own prefrontal cortex, how you interpret my words and the neutral information that I am giving you. That's the health of your brain, because I am just giving you the facts. And of course, they will be colored by my experience, colored by my tone and the way I speak and the way I look and everything else. But essentially, if you just look at the subtitle, if you just look at the, read the text, just facts. So to complete the anger cycle, you don't have to heal any wound. You just act in this way. You reset your nervous system. So your nervous system is accumulating new information through that, because let's say your nervous system has an imprint of someone who heavily depends, whose self-concept, let's say, or self-perception heavily depends on other people's opinion of them. If that is the imprint in your nervous system, what I'm talking to now, to you, that will probably trigger you. So you might not like what I'm saying, because this is so true, because this is factual. And you just like, and then why you don't like it? Because you have to act. I didn't like this information when I read it at first as well, because that required action from me. But then that's how you heal. So when you start acting from I am protecting myself rather than accumulating people around me because I need other people to validate me, when you start actually respecting yourself, respecting your time, respecting the person who you are, your nervous system is gaining a new imprint of behavior. It's almost like a new behavioral imprint, and that energy that you previously used to like clump up your anger or heal your anger can now be reorganized in your nervous system for something different. You can create something. And again, this is what my clients, I experience so much. Whenever you heal a pattern, almost immediately with action, almost immediately you've got that surge of energy, and that energy you can direct with your conscious mind onto something rather beautiful. It releases, your creativity. You gain more complexity, more nuance, and this is what happens when you truly heal. And again, that's biology. You can, you can see that everywhere. When you look at some animals, for example, when they are, let's say, domesticated by humans, they become more elaborate. Their expression becomes more elaborate, more nuanced. That's it, because they don't have to no longer survive. They overcome their survival by being domesticated, and then therefore they can evolve in different other ways, not thinking about survival anymore. So anger is actually your intelligence, your ancestral intelligence. Again, nothing metaphorical about it. Mother Nature, it's in your brain. Again, I really want you guys to understand that and change your mind direct your mind into facts and biology rather than on some mythical stuff. So that cultural suppression and this, the therapist being scared of triggering clients, the whole culture of that, it's contributing hugely to the mental health problems that we have as a collective. So anger, this is your ancient ancestral intelligence. If you listen to it and if you act accordingly, then it's just going to be one of your greatest guides. So I trust that information was helpful. So if it was, then like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to book a session with me, you've got some links down below. And like I said in my previous videos, I don't do long-term work. I don't do it because I don't like earn money from people who are... There's way too many people to actually help for me to develop any type of long-term work. That's it. And having one session with a good practitioner, that doesn't have to be me, it could be someone else. It's like you save yourself light years instead of sitting in someone else's chair for 3.5 years or more than that, and collecting more self-analysis and self-knowledge. That's not going to take you anywhere. I'll tell you what to do. I'll be very direct, and then it's up to you to adjust to that. But I'll definitely gonna see and show you your blind spots. That's it. And that's how I work, and I don't hide that. That's who I am. That's how I work. I've got the results, so they speak for themselves. With the clients, you can check my feedback you can check the feedback on my website, so you can see the actual opinions from real people that work with me for a long time, and they keep on coming back. But not every week, not twice a month, but once a year, or when they want.